Hey, hey, it's me, your guide of light, helping you make it through the night. And yesterday, I'm sure y'all saw it. I was like a dragon breathing fire. And I kept going, I'm not really sure what it is, and a lot of it I've come to realize was death of old ways, death of thinking. And sometimes when you're on that deathbed, this is figuratively, I was not seriously on a deathbed, obviously, because I'm still standing here. But when you're having to let go of what's always been normal to you. That is the death of an old way of being, right? So oddly, that fell on, like I said, my kid's dad's birthday. And my mom came through yesterday, and it ended up changing the whole attitude for me and my house because I started seeing those blessings flowing into me. And it was something that I needed reassurance. We all need reassurance, right? But when you're struggling in life and you're dealing with things that are out of your control, it's normal to get angry. I shared that with you yesterday. I encouraged you to embrace it because then on the backside, when you have that death of the old way, now you have a birth, a new birth to a new way, which is funny because today we're going to a baby shower. My nephew and his wife are pregnant, so we're celebrating new life. I don't know why this is choking me up. I'm happy for them. I'm always happy when we can all enjoy new life together. And it, of course, is going to change their lives, probably for the better. So if you're going through these cycles, just remember to allow yourself to go through that process. Like I told you yesterday, there's the grieving process. And I don't remember all the steps anymore. I haven't been in psychology since college, which was many, many, many moons ago. But I know the final step is acceptance, and releasing what has been your life, essentially. And we always look at death as being in the physical form, here today, gone tomorrow. But that's not exactly how this works. You have all these parts to you, and your ego is one of those. And for the longest time, I thought, I'm not driven by ego. I let that shit die a long time ago. But then it would rear its ugly little head. And you can find when your ego is driving you, like if you catch yourself being jealous, if you catch yourself gossiping about other people, if you create conflict every so often, this is your ego like, hey, don't let them one up you. Whatever it is, it gets provoked in all of us because it is a part of us. It's not something that we can necessarily get rid of, but it's something we can learn to control, something we can work with, because you can't you can't take out parts of you and still go, "Oh, I'm still a whole person." Because then there's something that's missing in you. I don't know if this is making sense to anybody, but you still have to be okay with saying it is what it is, it was what it was. Now, if I release that, it will be what it's going to be. And the hardest part with that is having that faith, hoping that things will work out, and then celebrating that new version of you, that new life, that rebirth, that chance to not even start over because now you have wisdom that you didn't have before. So you have a better foundation you can create for yourself. You have the ability to no longer fear those fears. You can believe in yourself. And it takes letting go of what was. And like I said, I'm just now putting the pieces together. I really thought I wasn't hanging on to the things their dad did to me, which is stupid because it comes out in my videos on the regular as examples of my life. But I didn't think that I did in a manner that there was spite or anger. I thought I had moved on from what had happened by the way that I spoke about him, by the way that I shared the stories, by the way that I didn't even think about it. He would kind of pop up when I've got things flowing out of my mouth. I'm like, oh, here's a good example of that. But I never realized that a lot of my attention was still focused on what was. And by doing that, I haven't allowed myself to move forward. And, now looking at going to this baby shower, it's like celebrating new life. And then I was in the shower thinking, why do we only celebrate life when it's being brought into the world? It's like we forget that every day we're living, that we should celebrate every day because we're getting to breathe in and out and use our brains and create and do things. I don't know if you realize that you're creating your world simply by the way that you consider your world. It's called manifesting. And a lot of people don't realize that when they're manifesting from a low vibration point. Like a lot of people only pray when they're asking God for help or for guidance, but they forget to just offer gratitude. There's another point to life that it doesn't always have to come out of desperation. If we can remember that life itself is a blessing, then we can remember it's worth celebrating. And that's the hard part, because yes, we do have to go through that loss. We do have to go through that pain. We do have to go through feeling like we've been completely destroyed, hopeless, like everything's going to be lost, to finally go, oh, that is true hope and faith. That is believing in the impossible. Because I've heard it for years now. Impossible simply says I'm possible. So if you can believe in the impossible, then you can believe that everything is possible. Because we, for whatever reason, have to be able to make sense of something working out for it to work out. But there's things in life that don't need to make sense. You just have to have faith, hope, something that is greater than despair. We can flip the script. We can change the concept of the way that we're living simply by the way that we approach the way that we are living. Like I said, we only celebrate life often through birth or death, a beginning and an end. But what about the whole in between? That is the majority of your existence, is the part that you're living. But we have to learn to separate ourselves from those that are basically the living dead, the zombified, the ones that are so focused on materialistic possessions and things that aren't really worth anything anywhere but in this reality. The things that people are willing to sell their soul for, the things that people are willing to sacrifice their family for, the things that people are willing to push aside even their morals and values. And these are the things that aren't worth the pursuit. Sure, you can call it the pursuit of happiness, but in the end, we were all taught money can't buy happiness, and this is very true. A lot of the most wealthy people on this planet are miserable and alone because they guard their money. They're like trolls that are just like, no, it's mine, my precious, and they don't want to share it with anybody because they remember what it was like to be nobody. And they don't want to be that. But in a sense, that's exactly who they became, with a lot of something that can't provide them happiness. And that's sad, because what could create happiness would be to share the abundance and watch everybody else heal and grow from that as well, instead of watch others struggle while going on little vacations here and there and really doing nothing with life, because it's only limited to narrow-minded individuals, not ones that can grow or prosper any further. Because if all you focus on is money and you're willing to sacrifice life for that, you can have all the money in the world and not be living. There's a lot of people, I was one of those people, had nothing. I always had to tell myself I'm monetarily broke, but I'm rich in spirit. And I would rather be rich in spirit any day than to be spiritually broken and monetarily wealthy. Because it didn't make sense in my mind, and it still doesn't make sense in my mind, why I would accept something temporary and sacrifice the one part of me that is eternal. The one part of me that is connected to source, a divine being, that is the divinity within me as well as within you. So when you can start realizing that life needs to be celebrated daily, then we're no longer focusing on just the cycle of death and rebirth or birth. We're no longer focusing on the two aspects that are very minuscule in existence. And not saying either one of those don't hold weight. Of course, they hold a heavy weight, because we sit here and we remember those individuals that have passed on. And then we sit here and we pray and we hope for those that are entering into the world. But all the in between, we forget what's important. So if you have a chance, reconnect with family now, today. If you have a chance, celebrate life now, today. If you get a chance, shoot, do what I've used to do. And I'm considering to start doing it again, just to put that smile back on my kids' faces. It's a very Mary Ann birthday. Alice in Wonderland even taught us you don't have to have a reason to celebrate, just celebrate. So hopefully some of that made sense and it hits the ears that it needs to. Sending you peace, love, and light. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.